When you step onto a cruise ship for the very first time, it feels like stepping into another world. The giant atrium, glittering chandeliers, smiling crew members, and endless buffets all scream luxury and fun. But behind the excitement, there are traps and rookie errors that first-timers fall into every single day. These are not just minor oops moments. We're talking about mistakes that can cost you money, comfort, and even parts of your trip you can never get back. After years of working at sea, ex-crew members spill the truth about what new passengers always do wrong and how you can avoid becoming that person on board. Once you know these insider tips, your first cruise won't just be good. It'll be unforgettable for the right reasons. So sail with us as we discuss the 10 biggest mistakes first-time cruisers make and how you can avoid them. Mistake number 1. Arriving on embarkation day without buffer time. One of the most painful things crew members witness over and over again is passengers missing the ship before their vacation has even started. First-time cruisers often try to save money by booking the cheapest flight possible, sometimes arriving on the same morning the ship is scheduled to depart. On paper, it looks convenient. Land at 10 a.m., grab a taxi, and be on board by 1 p.m. But in reality, the margin for error is razor thin. Delayed flights, weather disruptions, or missed connections happen every single day, and the ship won't wait for you no matter how frantic your calls are to the port. Ex-crew members tell stories of families who land just minutes too late, racing down the dock with luggage as the ship's horn sound. Tears, begging, and waving passports don't change anything. Once the gangway is pulled, it's over. The cruise line is on a strict timetable, and with thousands of other passengers on board, they simply can't risk being late to the next port. Even worse, if your bags were checked in ahead of time, they might be sailing without you while you're stuck at the airport. The fix is simple but often ignored. Fly into the port city at least one day before embarkation. Yes, it means paying for a night in a hotel, but it also means starting your holiday relaxed instead of stressed. Experienced cruisers treat that pre-cruise night as part of the vacation itself, exploring the city, trying local restaurants, and sleeping well before boarding. Mistake number 2. Not showing up to the muster drill. Every passenger is required by international maritime law to attend the muster drill, which is a safety briefing showing you where to go and what to do in an emergency. But the crew constantly sees new passengers who treat it like a pointless chore. They roll their eyes, whisper through the announcements, or worse, try to hide in their cabins until it's over. They think, "I'll figure it out if something happens." However, that mindset can be dangerous. The drill only takes 10-15 minutes, and while it's repetitive for seasoned travelers, it's designed to save lives. You'll learn where to gather, how to follow crew instructions, and what signals mean. Many modern ships even allow part of the drill to be completed via video on your phone or cabin TV, with just a quick check-in at your station afterward. That's hardly an inconvenience when you think about what's at stake. In mistake number 7, we'll talk more about the muster drill. Mistake number 3. Overpacking and underpacking essentials. One of the most common rookie errors is packing like you're moving house instead of going on vacation. Crew regularly see families arriving with 4 or 5 oversized suitcases each, stuffed with outfits for every possible scenario. Formal nights, theme parties, poolside lounging, gym sessions, and excursions. What first-timers don't realize is that cruise ship cabins are significantly smaller than hotel rooms, and storage space is limited. Overpacking turns your cabin into a cluttered maze, making the trip less comfortable than it should be. At the same time, new cruisers often forget the most practical items. Crew frequently hear complaints from guests who forgot sunscreen, seasickness remedies, reusable water bottles, or comfortable walking shoes. These essentials are either unavailable on board or come at a steep markup. Imagine paying $20 for a bottle of sunscreen that would have cost $6 at home. Experienced cruisers swear by packing light and focusing on versatile clothing. A few mix and match outfits, 1 pair of formal clothes, and a good pair of walking shoes go further than 10 bulky dresses you'll never wear. Crew also recommend carrying a small day bag with essentials like medications, chargers, travel documents, and swimwear. Since your checked luggage may not reach your cabin for several hours after boarding, the balance is simple. Pack less, but pack smarter. The next mistake has to do with your cabin choice. Mistake number 4. Booking the wrong cabin. Every week, crew deal with passengers who are miserable in their cabins and desperate to switch. The problem is, most of the time, the ship is fully booked, and there's nothing anyone can do. The root cause is usually the same. First-time cruisers book the cheapest guaranteed deal without realizing they were giving up the power to choose their exact room. It sounds like a bargain, but you could end up in the noisiest part of the ship. Some guests are stuck in cabins directly under the nightclub where the bass thumps until 2 a.m. Others are assigned rooms next to service corridors where crew are moving carts all night. Then there are unlucky passengers under the pool deck who wake up every morning to the sound of loungers being dragged across the floor. The worst for many first-timers is booking inside cabins with no windows. They don't realize how disorienting it is to live in constant darkness until it's too late. Ex-crew members tell stories of guests sleeping until noon, thinking it's still night outside. The best strategy is to research cabin categories before you book. Midship cabins tend to feel the least motion, making them ideal for those prone to seasickness. Balcony cabins give natural light and private outdoor space, which makes the room feel twice as large. If you're a light sleeper, avoid cabins near entertainment venues, lifts, or anchor points. Experienced cruisers know the cabin is more than just a place to sleep. It sets the tone for your whole trip. Spending a little extra for the right location can be the difference between a restful holiday and 7 nights of regret. Mistake number 5. Thinking all-inclusive actually means all-inclusive. One of the biggest shocks for new passengers comes when they see their final bill at the end of the trip. They boarded thinking they'd paid for everything up front, imagining a true all-inclusive experience. But most mainstream cruise lines operate differently. Your fare covers accommodation, most meals, entertainment, and basic activities, but plenty of extras are not included. Crew spend a lot of time explaining these add-ons to confused guests. Specialty dining restaurants? Extra. Alcoholic drinks? Extra. Soft drinks? Usually extra too. Shore excursions, spa treatments, Wi-Fi, laundry, and even some fitness classes all come with price tags. On top of that, daily gratuities are automatically added to your account, which surprises many first-timers. Crew recall passengers lining up at guest services, angrily disputing charges that were clearly outlined in the fine print. The truth is, cruise lines use this model to keep base fares competitive. If everything were truly included, the upfront price would scare away many travelers. Savvy cruisers go in knowing this, budget accordingly, and pick and choose what extras matter most to them. Some even book bundled packages in advance, which often saves money compared to buying on board. The key is to adjust expectation. Think of a cruise as half all-inclusive, half build your own. First-timers who understand that from the start enjoy themselves far more than those who feel blindsided at the end. The next mistake has to do with your hand hygiene. Mistake number 6. Skipping hand-washing stations. This is the mistake that makes crew members visibly cringe. At the entrance to buffets and dining areas, there are sinks and sanitizer dispensers placed for a reason. Cruise ships are closed environments where germs spread quickly. Norovirus and other stomach bugs can run rampant if people neglect basic hygiene. Yet time after time, crews see first-time cruisers breeze past without washing their hands. They're too excited about grabbing food, or they think a quick swipe with a napkin is enough. What happens next isn't pretty. Crew recall voyages where hundreds of passengers fell sick because 1 or 2 careless people didn't wash properly before handling utensils. Quarantine measures kick in, activities get canceled, and the ship feels like it's under lockdown, all because of something that takes 20 seconds. Veteran cruisers know better. They wash hands thoroughly before meals, after touching railings, and whenever they return from shore. They also carry small bottles of hand sanitizer for convenience. Crew quietly notice and appreciate this behavior. It's the mark of a responsible traveler who cares about the well-being of everyone on board. Mistake number 7. Not following muster drill instructions. Like we established earlier, muster drill is one of the most important safety routines of the entire cruise. It's the practice session for what to do if there's an emergency at sea, like a fire or evacuation. Yet first-time cruisers often treat it like an inconvenience. Some show up late, distracted, or even skip it entirely, assuming nothing bad will ever happen. Crew notice this more than passengers realize. They see guests chatting through instructions, sneaking off to the bar, or scrolling on their phones instead of listening. But here's the truth. When an actual emergency happens, those same people are the ones who panic, don't know where to go, and make the situation harder for everyone else. There have been real cases where lives were lost at sea because passengers didn't follow evacuation orders quickly enough. Muster drills exist to prevent that. Smart cruisers do more than just show up to the muster drill. They actually pay attention. Where's your muster station? How do you put on a life jacket? Which stairwell do you use if the lifts are shut down? This isn't paranoia. It's just basic preparation. Mistake number 8. Not budgeting for gratuities. This is the mistake that causes the most arguments at guest services. What are these extra charges on my bill? Many first-time cruisers assume tips are optional or already included. But on most cruise lines, daily gratuities are automatically added to your onboard account. typically $15 to $20 per person per day. For a week-long cruise, that can add up to hundreds of dollars for a family. Crew rely heavily on these gratuities to supplement their modest base wages. Waiters, cabin stewards, bartenders, and behind-the-scenes staff all share in this pool. When guests try to remove the charges out of surprise or protest, it directly affects the crew's livelihoods. Crew members talk about how demoralizing it is to provide excellent service all week only for a passenger to strip away their tips at the end. Veteran cruisers understand the system. They either budget for the automatic gratuities ahead of time or choose to prepay them when booking. Some even go further, adding cash tips to reward exceptional service. Crew say these gestures stand out more than passengers realize. Speaking of rendering gestures to crew members, the next mistake involves the very opposite. Mistake number 9. Treating the crew poorly. This is probably the biggest mistake of all and the one crew members never forget. Most first-time cruisers don't realize how hard the staff work behind the scenes. Many crew members put in 10 to 14 hours a day, 7 days a week, for months at a time. Their smiles are genuine, but their schedules are grueling. When a guest snaps, ignores them, or treats them like servants, it makes an already demanding job even harder. Crew swap stories in the staff areas about passengers who were kind versus those who weren't. The rude ones get remembered quickly, but so do the ones who showed respect and appreciation. Small gestures, like learning your steward's name, saying thank you, or leaving a little note of gratitude, make a massive difference. On the flip side, kindness often comes back around. The crew members are human too, and they go the extra mile for passengers who treat them well. You might find your favorite drink remembered, your room serviced a little faster, or insider tips whispered your way. Not because it's required, but because kindness inspires kindness. The truth is, no cruise line runs smoothly without its crew. They are the heartbeat of the ship. First-time cruisers who treat staff as invisible or disposable not only miss out on better service, they miss out on human connection. And that ultimately is what makes travel meaningful. If you remember only one lesson from crew insiders, let it be this. Treat the people serving you with dignity. It's the one mistake you can avoid that guarantees a better cruise for everyone. This brings us to the final mistake fresh cruisers often make. Mistake number 10. Not reading the fine print. Every cruise begins with a contract. These are pages of terms and conditions most first-time passengers scroll past without a second thought. But buried in that fine print are rules that can make or break your holiday. Crew say it's one of the biggest rookie mistakes they see. Guests happily book their dream trip, only to explode in frustration when reality doesn't match their assumptions. Take port changes, for example. Cruise brochures may promise exotic stops, but if bad weather, political unrest, or mechanical issues force a change, the line is under no obligation to refund you. Angry passengers storm guest services demanding compensation, only to be shown the clause that gave the cruise line full authority to alter the itinerary. Crews secretly roll their eyes because it happens almost every sailing. Then there's alcohol. Most contracts clearly state what you can and can't bring on board. Yet every week, security confiscates bottles hidden in shampoo containers or soda cans refilled with rum. Guests argue, plead, or act shocked, but crew know the policy is spelled out in writing. They just didn't bother to read it. Gratuities are another flashpoint. Many lines automatically add daily service charges to your account. First-timers often get upset, claiming they never agreed to extra fees, when in fact they did, buried on page 3 of the booking agreement. Same goes for medical liability, luggage responsibility, and even photo usage rights. Yes, the fine print usually gives the company permission to use your image in promotional material without asking. Seasoned cruisers know better. They take time to comb through the contract, highlight key sections, and ask questions before paying in full. The payoff is no nasty surprises, no arguments at the service desk, and a smoother trip overall. Reading the fine print isn't just about avoiding disappointment. It's about understanding exactly what you're signing up for when you step aboard. So those are the 10 biggest mistakes first-time cruisers make, according to ex-crew who've seen it all. The good news is every single one of these mistakes is avoidable. Now you know how to dodge the rookie errors, stretch your budget further, and actually enjoy the cruise the way it's meant to be enjoyed. So, which mistake have you seen other travelers make, or maybe made yourself? Drop it in the comments, share this with a friend planning their first cruise, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more insider travel tips. Remember, the best cruisers aren't just passengers. They're the ones who know how the game is played.